We've gone through tons of prep for week 12, but now is the time of year where it is ideal to get any advantage over your opponent for next week in advance. We did it last week. We're doing it again this week. We're going through week 13's early top 12 defense rankings, and I'm one of the only fantasy YouTubers who covers defense multiple times a week. So make sure to go down there, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel to show your support. Now get into our first tier. This is ideal and exactly how I want it to be. Our three top defenses, the Seahawks, the Broncos, and the Texans, and they're sorted based on matchup. So with the Seahawks defense at number 1, they're taking on the Vikings that week at home. Now here's the thing. This is Thanksgiving week, and there's going to be a lot of moving parts here. They're not playing on Thanksgiving, though. And the Seahawks defense, they're going up against an offense that is just imploding before our eyes. And I'm not sure people really know how deep it goes because JJ McCarthy was talking about it on a podcast, basically saying like they're having to rewire my brain and rewire my throwing release and just like the way I hold the ball. Everything's a disaster. And he's already overthrowing Shaquille O'Neal outside on, the boundary. It's like there is just no way. This is not a good play. He's throwing interceptions. They can't move the ball well enough. And the Seahawks defense is legit. So Seahawks defense easily at number 1. But of course, the Broncos defense has a theoretically good matchup at number 2 because they're going to Washington to play the Commanders. Now, this one could be really good as well. Both teams are coming off a bye week, but Denver, of course, has a monstrous pass rush. So even if, in theory, Jaden Daniels were to play, I would still envision the Broncos being inside the top 3 to 4 at least. Jaden Daniels would make a difference, of course, but the fact of the matter is that Jaden Daniels got injured against the Seahawks defense, a brutal defense to go against. Well, the Broncos defense, the reason they've been so strong in fantasy this year is because their pass rush is insanity. It's impossible to defend. So there's no way that the Commanders are able to put up many points in this game. And even if they got 20 on the board, they're going to go home with 7 sacks to Marcus Mariota or Jaden Daniels. That's just the bottom line of this story. The Broncos will force a turnover probably, and they're going to come out with 7 sacks. And the Texans defense at number 3, they're going to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Now, by far, I think this is the toughest matchup of these 3 elite defenses. And I would say this. I do see a world where, of course, Indy can win that game, but I've been saying this all week this week about the Chiefs defense taking on the Colts. We've seen the last 2 times that Daniel Jones played, he started to look like his Giants version of himself. Now, if there's any defense I think that could do it again, it's the Chiefs and the Texans for sure. We just saw what the Texans put Josh Allen through last night. I mean, he was under siege the entire night. They were hounding him all game, and they got 8 freaking sacks on the guy. If you don't think they're going to mess with Daniel Jones' head, you're kind of crazy. So they're definitely a tier 1 defense for now. Dropping down to our next tier, the Jaguars defense is going to Tennessee. And that one, honestly, I don't feel like I have to spend more than 2 seconds on this because all I need to say is the Titans suck. They're literally a, JV squad against the rest of the NFL. I mean, they can't move the ball against anybody, and they're tossing interceptions. They're turning the ball over. There is nothing good about the Titans offense right now. And the Jags defense, they've had their success, man. It's not exactly a sack-happy defense, but they've got 13 interceptions this year and 5 forced fumbles. They can do a lot of damage to the Tennessee Titans, just like everybody can. But I would say that they could come away with 2 picks in this game and probably not let them score more than 10 points. So there's no way the Jags defense isn't inside my top 5 for this week unless something drastic changes over the weekend. The Rams defense at number 5. They're going to Carolina to play the Panthers. And listen, there's actually more merit to this matchup. And the Panthers, because they're a 6-5 team as of the time of this filming. They're a solid bunch. But I will say this. My same problem with the Panthers this weekend against the 49ers is pretty similar to how I view the matchup against the Rams. The Rams are just a superior team. And I don't think the Panthers will be able to match up very well against a superior team like the Rams. And the Rams defense also has been fantastic for fantasy. 27 sacks through 10 games. That pass rush is very strong. 10 interceptions. That secondary has gotten much better. Forced fumbles, 10 forced fumbles. They're making plays. They're a dominant defense too. And it's just against the matchup that, again, The Panthers can score points, but I don't think they can live up to good competition like the Los Angeles Rams. And then to round out the tier at 6, I got the Chargers defense, and it really just would feel so crazy to not put them here because they're playing the Raiders at home off of a bye week. And the Chargers, yes, they're injured and they're having a lot of issues of their own. But dude, it's the Raiders. I mean, I'm sorry to Raiders fans who watch this channel, but there is just no other way I can process the information. Their team is a complete disaster, and there's nothing that I can look at, maybe outside of Max Crosby, that gives me much hope. Genty's good, but that Raiders offensive line, it's garbage. Geno Smith is garbage. The Chargers can generate pass rush with Khalil Mack, and they can get turnovers as well. So I just don't see how this is not a top 6 play as of the time of this filming. But I will tell you this, again, defense is like the Chargers. Defense is like the Rams possibly this week. Defense is like the Broncos on a bye week. Those are on waivers and a lot of leagues, I bet, right now. And that's where our automatic waiver tool comes in, because every night there's priority waiver ads that run through. Well, everybody gets up at 3 a.m. to go grab the rest of the best free agents for free. Our tool has automated that for you, so you don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. and you can instead just wake up to an angry text from your league mates saying, "How did you beat me on the wire?" Well, it's because you're using our tool, and it's the perfect time to go pick up a defense in advance for next week using that tool. In addition to that, you'll also get my top 250 rankings on a weekly basis. You'll be able to get the comparison feature on the site and the league sync up feature. And if you just want to do a complete team breakdown with me where we discuss trade ideas, waiver ideas on a live stream, you can also do that for me as well. Dropping down to our next tier, the Lions defense is at number 7, and they're playing the Packers on Thanksgiving Day. So here's a couple things for this one, right? First of all, the Lions defense is very good. Like, that is quickly becoming the strength of their team. Their offense is struggling. That defense, man, even with injuries, has been lights out. Like, hats off to the new defensive coordinator over there, former player. He's done fantastic. 31 sacks through 10 games. That's awesome. 8 interceptions, 9 forced fumbles, a special teams touchdown, and a safety. Like, they're a monstrous defense, actually. And it's also on Thanksgiving. And they are playing the Packers, and I don't rule out the Packers being able to put up points on the Lions. But I will say this, the Lions are good on Thanksgiving usually. They are. And so I do think edge to the Lions in this one off a short week at home on Thanksgiving Day. I love the Lions defense, so I've got them here at number 7. The Eagles defense is at number 8, and they're playing the Bears on Black Friday at home. So the Eagles are a great defense too. Like, they're not there yet, but they're close with the Rams, I would say, to being in that top 3 of elite defenses. The Eagles, since they made the move to get Jalen Phillips, it's changed their pass rush. And their secondary, too, is bolstered as well. So that Eagles defense, man, like, they started out the year with not many sacks. They have 21 through 10 games. Not a lot, but it's getting better is what I'm saying to you. And they're not letting opponents score many points. The Bears have a tough stretch coming up. And I think the Bears have done well against bad competition. They're about to get some tests. And I think the Bears are good. I really do. I'm actually convinced they're going to make the playoffs this year at this point. But they've had their struggles. They're streaky. And I do think the Eagles could take advantage of the matchup. At number 9 to round out the tier, the Falcons defense is in for next week. And it's only because they're going to New York to play the Jets. So a lot of people will ask me, why are the Falcons here in your next week rankings? And why aren't they in your top 12 this week? So I'm going to get out ahead of that because I want to tell you it's very clear to me. New Orleans is coming off a bye week, number 1, and they can score. That's the Falcons' opponent this week. They can score, and they sometimes have games where they don't make mistakes. And the Falcons are a piss-poor team as well. They're going down the tubes along with the Saints. However, the Jets have nothing to offer me. Nothing. Tyrod Taylor, I don't care if it's him or Justin Fields. In any week, it could be either one of those guys. The bottom line is this. They have no weapons, no offensive line, and no juice at quarterback. Like the Saints, I'd rather have their offense than the Jets' offense. So yeah, pretty clear to me. I think the Falcons probably edge the Jets and actually have a good game. But I'll tell you this, the Jets defense, not terrible play as well, particularly if Kirk Cousins is terrible like I think he will be. Dropping down to that last tier, I've got the Chiefs defense on Thanksgiving Day going to Dallas and doing well defensively. Like, listen, the Cowboys, it's actually kind of interesting. they don't always do well on Thanksgiving. They've had a lot of blowouts to them on Thanksgiving Day. And listen, in theory, you could tell me, well, the Cowboys' offense looks really good. Yeah, they do, but there's also a lot of games where they don't look very good either. So I'm not convinced one way or the other that the Cowboys are some fantastic offense against the Chiefs, who are in must-win territory right now. They must win this week. They must win next week against the Cowboys to give themselves a shot at playoffs. Like, not even division. Wild card is on the table for the Chiefs or bust. The Chiefs are needing to win. They've got a defensive coordinator that I trust, particularly down the stretch with Steve Spagnuolo, and they have had good fantasy performances. They've got 22 sacks this year, 6 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles. They can do things. I like Steve Spagnuolo a lot, and I just trust the guy a lot, so I'll take them against the Cowboys for now. The Colts defense is at 11. They're taking on the Texans at home. Listen, I can think the same thing about the Colts that I do about the Texans. The difference is the Colts don't have the talent that the Texans have. And that's no slight to the Colts. They've got talent defensively, and Lou Anarumo is a great defensive coordinator who has made a world of difference for them this year. But the Texans are just a good matchup too. I mean, the Bills, how crazy is it to think that the Bills didn't get a sack on the Texans' offensive line last night? Because it didn't happen, and it's freaking crazy to think about. But the reality is the Colts are a better pass rush and just a better defense than the Houston Texans. So with Stroud back, I actually kind of think, I'm only going to say this once, and I'm just going to float it. How much better is Davis Mills than CJ Stroud? I've always been a CJ Stroud defender, always liked him, but Davis Mills had the offense moving. That's all I'm going to say. Let me know what you think of that in the comments. And then to round us out at 12, the Vikings defense, they're going to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. This may sound crazy to you, but I'm going to tell you 2 things. Number 1, where did Sam Darnold play last year? The Vikings. Who was that defensive coordinator? Brian Flores. So you've got a quarterback who's on a new team but played for the previous team, the team that he's facing last year. And what do you know about quarterbacks who leave the building? Well, you know their kinks, and you know exactly what is good and what is bad and how you can take advantage of them. Brian Flores is going to know how to take advantage of Sam Darnold. And number 2, I will stand by this all year. The problem with the Vikings is nothing to do with their defense. Their problem is offense. So I think that if they could turn this into a lower scoring game, they could really do successful things. And what's one thing we've seen Darnold do already this year against the Rams? He can go into the tank, man. There's a team that owns him. The Rams own them, and I think the Vikings could have a similar outcome to the Rams did on this Week 13 matchup. So let me know what you think of the early defense rankings for next week in the comments below. And if you want to see this week's top 12 defenses, click on this video right here.